All right, thank you guys. Just go ahead and fast forward to the end of the video if you want to see all my picks right away. But if you want to stick around and dive into some of these games together, let's go ahead and begin. And we're going to start off with Boston College. They're going to square off against the Clemson Tigers. That's going to be a 12 p.m. Eastern start time. Now, the Clemson Tigers are the 31-point favorite in this matchup here. Total 61 flat. We are 2-0 in our last two daily best play tier package picks on patreon.com/BrockPage. And access to the daily best play costs just $1.99. We're also 5-1 in our last six daily best plays on that site as well. We currently have over 790 members signed up and active on that page. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, if you're feeling lucky, the Boston College Eagles are plus 1,600 for an upset win on the road. So if you're liking Boston College in a huge upset, it's certainly going to pay you. Once again, plus 1,600. But just keep in mind, regardless of the outright winner, BC successfully covered the point spread in 3 out of their last 4 ball games. And those were covers over a very good UNC team, the Pitt Panthers, and Georgia Tech during that span. Now, the Eagles are 4-2 against the spread overall for this season, so they're able to cover the number, and they're covering fresh off a 48-27 victory over Georgia Tech, where they scored 34 total points in the first half alone. Quarterback Phil Yurkovich has thrown for nearly 1,700 yards already, along with a dozen touchdowns. His favorite target's been tight end Hunter Long, who's got 38 grabs for 455 yards and 3 scores. And wideout Zay Flowers also has 29 receptions for 473 and 4 touchdowns. Flowers is averaging nearly 17 yards of reception. The Eagles defensively have been doing a decent job getting pressure on the quarterback as well. 17 total sacks for the Eagles D, 11 takeaways. Defensive back Jamin Muse has a pair of interceptions along with 16 tackles. Defensive end Max Roberts has 3.5 sacks thus far in the season, 14 tackles and a forced fumble. Don't forget about linebacker Isaiah McDuffie, who currently leads the program with 59 tackles on the season, 3 sacks and a pick. Now, BC successfully covered the point spread in 5 out of their last 6 conference games. Very good in the ACC when covering the number. They're taking on a Clemson squad who failed to cover the number in 4 out of their 6 games already for the year. They've looked really good, but these spreads are really, really high. They failed to cover against the likes of Syracuse, Virginia, Citadel, and Wake Forest. They're also just 1-3 against the spread in their ball games at home. Now, total-wise, when it comes to the number in this one, 2 out of Clemson's last 4 home games did stay under the posted total. Meanwhile, Boston College saw their 2 games on the road this season stay under the line themselves. They're officially 4-2 to the under for the entire season. So with all that said and done, give me the Boston College Eagles plus 31, keeping this one close, and the under 61 in that ball game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the video. Got some lines and personal leans out for ACC football and college football week 9. But before we dive into some more free content right here on YouTube, I just want to quickly remind you once again that we are currently 2-0 in our last 2 daily best plays on patreon.com/BrockPage. And access to that content costs just $1.99. We're also 5-1 in our last 6 daily best plays on that site as well. We currently have over 790 members signed up and active on that site. And if you want to join them and get in on the action, link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. And moving on, we're going to take a look at Wake Forest Syracuse. I don't think that one's on our board here, but anyway, that's going to be a 12 p.m. Eastern start time. The Demon Deacons are minus 11 on the road, totals 59 flat. The Orange are plus 320 for an upset win. Now, Syracuse is also on a 3-game losing streak. 41 points a game they gave up on average during that span. The Orange is just 1-5 straight up on the season, and they failed to cover the point spread in 2 out of their last 3. Now, Syracuse lost 2 out of their last 3 ball games at home, just 1-2 against the spread in those contests as well. They're also throwing for less than 185 yards per contest, and their O-line's they've given up a staggering 26 sacks through just 6 ball games. Now, this Syracuse rushing attack hasn't been all that much better. They're rushing for less than 93 yards a game and scored just 3 times on the ground. Meanwhile, defensively, the Orange defense is they're getting to the quarterback just 1.8 times per game. The Orange gave up 38 points or more in each of their last 3 contests. Now, they are taking on a Wake Forest program looking pretty good this season. Right now, they're on a 3-game winning streak themselves. They're coming off a real nice 23-16 victory over Virginia Tech, where they held the Hokies to just 6 points in the entire second half of that ball game to cap that, to seal that one off. And as a matter of fact, Wake Forest they've given up just 16 total second half points in their last 3 contests as well, really finishing strong. Linebacker Jaquez Williams is leading the defense with 42 total tackles and a forced fumble. Defensive back Nick Anderson has 3 interceptions on the season, along with 33 tackles himself. And defensive lineman Carlos Basham has 5 sacks on the year, along with a forced fumble and 26 tackles. Keep in mind, Basham is double and triple teamed an awful lot. Now, the Demon Deacons have 9 total interceptions on the year and a dozen takeaways. Very opportunistic defensively is this Wake Forest team. But it's not just a team driven by defense alone. These guys have proved that they can put points on the board. Wake Forest is averaging 43 points a game in their last 4 contests, and they've gone 4-1 against the spread in their last 5. They're rushing for nearly 175 yards a game, and they're led by running back Kenneth Walker, who has 449 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground. Now, Walker's also averaging 5 yards a carry as this Wake Forest offense has scored 15 times on the ground through 5 games. Christian Beal-Smith also carried it 71 times for 385 yards and 4 scores himself. And for those who don't already know, Wake Forest has actually posted a win percentage of .650 in their last 20 games dating back the past couple of seasons. So a lot of success out of this Wake Forest program over the past couple of years. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Wake Forest's last 4 games did get over the posted number. They're officially 1-0 to the over in their lone road game. Meanwhile, Syracuse has gone 3-0 to the over at home this season, 4-0 to the over in their last 4 straight. Give me the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, -11, and the over 59 in that ball game. All right, next matchup. We're right on it. We got ourselves, I don't want to say a good matchup here, maybe 10 years back. But anyway, Notre Dame squaring off against Georgia Tech, 3:30 p.m. Eastern start time at Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta. The Irish are the 20-point favorite on the road, totals 57 and a hook. The Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech are +650 for an upset win. Georgia Tech's currently on a 2-game losing streak, and that was a 48-27 loss in their most recent contest against BC. The Ramblin' Wreck gave up 34 first-half points to really bury themselves in that one. GT also suffered an embarrassing 73-7 humiliation the week before that to Clemson. And in addition to losing 4 out of their last 5, the Yellow Jackets also went just 1-4 against the spread in those contests. They allowed 47 points a game on average during that span. Now, the Yellow Jacket defense is getting to the quarterback just 1.8 times per contest. Meanwhile, offensively, quarterback Jeff Sims threw for under 200 yards a game passing this season, and he's already heaved double-digit interceptions on the year. And for being such a run-heavy offense, their leading rusher, Jahmyr Gibbs, is averaging just 51 yards on the ground a game, and he scored just twice. So needless to say, these guys have been a literal rambling wreck. But anyway, they're taking on a Notre Dame squad who's coming off a very impressive 45-3 massacre over a really competitive Pitt Panthers squad. They held Pitt scoreless in the final 3 quarters of that contest to get the W. They also put up 28 big ones in the first half to really kind of set the tone for that game. Now, Notre Dame's currently an undefeated 5-0 on the season, and they've successfully covered the number in their lone road game on the year as well. So officially 1-0 against the spread when they travel. But certainly a powerful Notre Dame squad. Now, running back Kyron Williams is averaging nearly 6 yards a carry, and he scored 5 times on the ground. He's actually touched it 90 times for 524 rushing yards. This Notre Dame rushing attack averages an impressive 232 yards a game on the ground, and they've rushed it into the end zone 15 times already. Even quarterback Ian Book's rushed it in 5 times thus far in the year. But really the story with this Notre Dame team, offensive side, has been the defense. And they've allowed just 10 total points through 2 weeks. And really, if you think about it, they've actually held their opponents to 13 points or less in 4 out of their 5 contests on the year. And to be exact, the Irish are allowing just 9.8 points per contest. Very good. One of the better Irish defenses in some time. Now, Kyle Hamilton leads the team in tackles with 22 of them. He also has 2 PBUs from that safety position. The lineman Isaiah Foskey also has 2.5 sacks on the season, 4 solo tackles. Notre Dame's currently on a 10-game winning streak dating back to last season, and they successfully covered the number in 70% of those contests. So if you're into historical trends, we're really not going back that far, but a lot of success out of this Notre Dame program within the past year. Now, total-wise, the Irish have gone 8-3 to the under in their last 11 against the ACC. So once again, if you're into historical trends, that stat may play a factor in your decision-making. Meanwhile, 3 out of Notre Dame's last 4 head-to-head meetings with Georgia Tech also stayed under the line. I just don't think the Yellow Jackets will be able to score enough to put this one over. So with all that in mind, give me the Notre Dame Fighting Irish -20 and the under 57.5 in that contest. Next matchup, it is going to be Virginia Tech squaring off against Louisville. And I don't think I have that on the board unless I passed it. 4 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Give me 1 sec. Let me see if I have that. Where are we at here? Oh, yeah, we're in the 7 o'clock starts already. Here's the 4 o'clock starts. Yeah, I don't have that on the board. But anyway, Louisville is hosting Virginia Tech. 4 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Hokies are -4. Total 67 and a hook. Louisville's plus $1.35 to win it. Now, the Cardinals are coming off a very impressive 48-16 effort over the Florida State Seminoles. They scored 31 first-half points en route to that blowout against the Noles. Louisville's won 2 out of 3 home games this season, and they got the job done against the number twice in those contests. Quarterback Malik Cunningham's just 4 yards shy of 1,400 passing yards on the season already. A dozen touchdown passes for Malik as well. His favorite targets have been wideout Tutu Atwell, who has 32 grabs for 450 yards and 5 scores. Tutu's averaging nearly 15 yards per reception. Now, the Cardinals have also been running it very well on the ground. 183 yards a game on the ground, 10 total rushing touchdowns. Running back Javian Hawkins has touched it 116 times for 693 yards and 6 TDs. Hawkins averages 6 yards a carry and $1.16 per game. But most surprising has been this Cardinal defense over the past couple of weeks. Just 14 points a game they've given up in their past couple of games. The Cardinals have successfully covered the number in their last 2 straight, 3-1 against the spread in their last 4. Now, Louisville's gotten to the quarterback 13 times this season, and they're led by linebacker C.J. Avery, who has 41 total tackles, a sack, 3 PBUs, and an interception. They're taking on a Virginia Tech squad who's coming off a tough loss last week to Wake Forest, where they scored just 16 total points in that one. The Hokies have also lost 2 out of their last 3, and that includes a loss to UNC, where they gave up 56 total points, complete defensive breakdown. The Hokies gave up 30 points a game for the entire season. They give up 30 points a game, and they failed to cover the point spread in 3 out of their last 4. Virginia Tech's also 0-3 against the spread this season when they travel. Now, total-wise, VT's last 2 straight stayed under the posted number. Meanwhile, 2 out of Louisville's last 4 stayed under the line themselves. Give me the Underdog Cardinals of Louisville +4 and the under 67.5 in that game. All right, next matchup. I don't think this is going to be on the board. No. Next matchup is Charlotte taking on Duke, 7 p.m. Eastern start time. Don't sleep on this game. This could potentially be an entertaining one. Now, the Blue Devils of Duke are minus 9.5. Totals 55 and a hook. The Charlotte 49ers are plus 280 for an outright win. And if you like them to cover the 9.5, Charlotte's actually catching even money right now to get the job done against the number. So pretty good value there if you like them to cover. But as good as this 49er program has looked over the past couple of weeks, they clearly haven't faced the level of competition that this Duke team has. And Duke has been competitive. Don't let the scores fool you. You know, they have been able to compete. And when it comes to the win column, Duke certainly has taken their lumps, especially this season. Having said that, though, they've successfully covered the number in 2 out of their last 3, and they averaged 30 points a game during that very short span. Duke is throwing for over 252 yards a game, so keep that in mind. They're not completely deficient, and they have 3 different receivers over 200 yards. They also rush for nearly $150 a game, and they have 2 running backs on the team with over 355 rushing yards apiece. Matter of fact, a little bit more specifically, their leading rusher is Deion Jackson, and he's touched it 109 times for 446 yards and a couple of scores. Deion's averaging 4.1 yards a clip. Now, Mateo Durant, he's the other running back. He also has 59 touches on the ground for 356 and 3 TDs himself. Durant's averaging an impressive 6 yards per carry himself. And as bad as they've looked in certain spots, this Duke defense on the other side of the ball has certainly put some pressure on opposing offenses. They have 21 total sacks on the year, nearly 4 sacks a game they're averaging. The Blue Devil defense also has 11 takeaways and 6 interceptions. Defensive back Jeremiah Lewis has a pair of interceptions from the secondary, 22 total tackles for Lewis. Defensive end Victor Dimkeji has 6.5 sacks through 6 games and a forced fumble. He also has 22 tackles and a fumble recovery. He's an impact player, so keep an eye on him. And, of course, can't forget about edge rusher Chris Rumpf, who has 4.5 sacks on the season, along with 30 total tackles. Now, Duke successfully covered the number in 4 out of their last 6 meetings with Conference USA. And when it comes to the total in this one, 3 out of Duke's last 4 ball games got over the posted total. The Blue Devils are actually 7-2 to the over in their last 9 home games as well, of course, dating back to last season, and if you're into historical trends. Now, Charlotte, on the other side, they did see their last 2 straight get over the line themselves. So with all that in mind, give me the Duke Blue Devils minus 9.5 and the over 55 and a hook in that game. All right, next and final matchup for the show. This has got to be on the board here. If not, then this Xfinity app is showing no love to the ACC. No, it's not. Wow. But anyway, North Carolina, Virginia, 8 p.m. Eastern start time. Now, the Tar Heels are the 6.5-point favorite on the road. Number's 61.5. The Cavaliers of Virginia are plus $1.90. Now, Virginia is currently on a 4-game losing streak. They gave up 38 points or more in 3 out of those 4 losses. UVA's failed to cover the point spread in 2 out of their last 3 as well. They're being held to just 20 points per contest in their last 4 ball games. This Cavalier offense has thrown 9 interceptions through 5 games. Virginia's lost 5 out of their last 6 conference games, dating back to last season as well. They also failed to cover the point spread in 4 out of their last 5 contests, hosting North Carolina. So that's kind of a larger historical trend there, but keep that in mind. But regardless, speaking of the Tar Heels on the other side, nice little bounce-back win for them this past week against NC State. They did put up 31 on the Wolfpack in the second half en route to their 48-point effort. UNC's now 4 months straight up on the season, and they successfully covered the number in 2 out of their last 3. Quarterback Sam Howell has thrown for over 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns. He's currently averaging 281 yards a game through the air. His favorite target's been Diami Brown, who has 24 receptions for 401 yards and 3 scores. Brown's actually averaging nearly 18 yards a catch. But the big threat for this Tar Heel offense has got to be the run game. 1,245 total yards on the ground already for UNC. 249 yards a game they're averaging. Michael Carter's touched the ball 74 times on the ground for 584 yards and 3 scores. Carter's rushing for 7.9 yards a carry and a $1.17 a game. And of course, can't forget about running back Javonte Williams, 82 carries, 562 yards, and 10 big touchdowns on the ground already. Williams is rushing for nearly 7 yards a carry and over a $1.12 a game. This UNC offense has scored 25 times through 5 games. They're averaging 38 points per contest. Now defensively, this Tar Heel squad has gotten to the quarterback 15 times already, thanks mostly in part to the efforts of linebacker Chaz Surratt, who has 4 sacks on the season, 32 total tackles, an interception, and a forced fumble. So keep an eye on Surratt. Now, total-wise, 2 out of the Tar Heels' last 3 ball games got over the posted number. Meanwhile, UVA's 4-1 to the over in their last 5, 2-0 to the over at home. Give me the North Carolina Tar Heels minus 6.5 and the over 61 and a hook in that contest. All right, let's go ahead and dive into my quick pick recap brought to you by patreon.com/Brock Page. I like Boston College plus 31, under 61. Wake Forest minus 11, over 59. Notre Dame minus 20, under 57 and a hook. Louisville plus 4, under 67 and a half. Duke minus 9.5, over 55 and a hook. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to lean toward UNC minus 6.5 and the over 61 and a hook in that game. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind, we'll bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/Brock Page.